these are the best summer palettes. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I'm going to be chatting to you about 10 eyeshadow palettes that have color stories that I personally love using in the summertime. I like updating this list every single year, so some of these are going to be old favorites that you know I love. And if you saw my Shop My Stash video that went live on Tuesday, you will have seen a couple of these already because they have just been my favorites for the summer for a while now. But I did want to update the list and sort of give you some ideas of what some things that I might be interested in selecting for my Shop My Stash for August, for instance. But also if you have any of these palettes lying about yourself, that maybe this is a reminder that if you haven't used it in a while, now may be the time to pull it out. So let's get to the list. First up, we have this little guy. This is by Kaleidos. It's their Futurism palette. This is number 5. And this is the Electro Turquoise. I don't think they still have this. This is currently in my Shop My Stash. I will be playing with this in July, and I am very much looking forward to playing with it. It has some like brownie, like neutral things here on either end, then that bright pop of orange in the middle, and then some really pretty turquoisey, tealy blue shades that are really fun and summery. And there's just something about a combination like this that I really enjoy for summer. There's going to be several palettes that have this warm tone with a pop of something kind of vibe, because that is what I love in the summertime. And in the summertime, that's when my brain goes, I want all the warm tones. So I have a couple of dedicated warm tone palettes, and this is one that happens to be a little bit more colorful, but I tend to whip those out in the summertime every year because it just screams summer to me. So the Kaleidos Electro Turquoise is definitely one of my staples when it comes to the summertime. I like how fun and bright and colorful this is, and I just really enjoy having a good time with this eyeshadow palette for sure. Palette number 2 is this one from Essence. This is the Welcome to Capetown, and this is that warm tone with a pop of something kind of vibe, but it's not overly warm toned. We get some like brownish neutrals that on me are like the perfect neutral. They're not too warm, not too cool, and they just have some really lovely things in. We get a pop of green, we get a pop of teal, and then here is where the warmth really happens. We have a peach, we have a yellow tone gold, and then this brighter orange and a beige. I kind of not use this part of the palette as much, but I love this like juxtaposition of the warmer tones with, for instance, teals. That's like one of my favorite combos for the summertime. So this is another palette where I'm like, I may have to go back to this sometime soon. I haven't selected it for a Shop My Stash yet, but this is definitely on the brain for my August selection. So this is a really good color story, and I tend to go back to this every year. And this is one of the best eyeshadow palettes that Essence personally has ever done, in my opinion, because their eyeshadow can be good, but it's not always the best, and this is one of the good ones. So I sometimes gravitate towards this palette a little bit more so in the springtime than in the summertime, and now it was like, ooh, this is another one I need to remember for using in August. This is the Soft Glam, and this is by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Again, is this still around? I'm not really up to date with what Anastasia has to offer right now. The one thing I love about this palette is that it's warm, but it's rosy warm tones. So it's giving a little bit of a different vibe than some of the warm tones in those other palettes have. It's not super orange leaning, and I just feel you can do so many things with it. I love this eyeshadow especially. That's one I reach for all the time. It's called Sultry. And then we just have these really pretty like mauvey tones that are in here too. So I really like how this is a really nice blend. I do not really tend to reach for this quad right here when I use the palette though. I tend to reach for these two and then sort of this part of the palette, because that's where you also get the like the rosiness. The other shades are a little bit too yellow for my liking, but it does have some really wonderful things in, and I really still enjoy this formula as well. I have decluttered most of my ABH palettes over time. I even decluttered the ones that I revamped and sort of made like, I don't know, 8 palettes into 2 because I wasn't really using them, and I just have similar shades in my collection by now. And I did also put those pans in like the wrong way, so some of them started cracking over time. But the Soft Glam I've kept intact as the subculture as well. Those have secretly been my 2 favorite palettes from the brand, which I don't know if you can do anything with that sort of information, but I really like this one. Another favorite warm toned color story. I think I reach for this every single year into summertime. This is currently in my Shop My Stash. It's the Analog palette from Nabla. These little cutie palettes were so good. They did an entire range of 7 of them in the end, I believe. I think I still have the other 6 somewhere in my house because I couldn't break up the collection. I am thinking that, like, maybe they have to go by now because this is the only one I still think about and that I think is really unique in my makeup collection. The rest were good, and I just know that if I see them again and I were to swatch them, I would probably want to put all of them back into my makeup collection because that's the way my brain works. But yeah, the Analog Cutie palette from Nabla, it's this sort of like, you know, when you took pictures in the 70s, like if your grandparents had pictures and then they had this like reddish orange tone to them, it's really giving that vibe. And I really like this. This also has a bit of a reddish undertone, especially in this shade here. And also these 2 darker browns have red, on me anyways, rather than true oranges. It features a beautiful duochrome. It's this peach to gold, sort of corally vibe. Really, really beautiful. A nice gold eyeshadow, and then a little bit more, like this is a little bit orange, but it pairs really well with the other shade. So something neutral, like something for the crease, something to highlight, something to have like a fun shimmer all over the lid. Such a nice, well-curated color story with just 6 shades that gets the job done every single time if I want something truly spicy looking, you could say. So the Nabla is really good. Another palette in my Shop My Stash is one that's long since discontinued, and this particular configuration doesn't quite exist because this is by ColourPop, and I fuse the ColourPop Dream Street that the packaging is from together with their High Tide palette. So the original Dream Street had all these spicy sort of warm tones with a pop of teal. That was the original color story. Over time, I had so many other palettes that did that for me that I liked better. So I decided to declutter the Dream Street and fuse those 2 palettes together to create an all teal monochromatic eyeshadow palette for myself. This is the only thing that isn't teal. I believe it was called Kaleidoscope. It was supposed to be in the bottom here, but it's this really pretty sort of blue flipping duochrome that goes really well with the rest of the palette. And I just don't remember the last time I ever even played with this configuration ever since I put it together. I think I used it once or twice, and I was like, this is the ocean in a palette, Micah. You have something perfect for summer, and we all know I love a teal. I love a really good teal. So I know taupe is one of my favorite colors, but I also really love navies and teals. And I was like, you know what? For right now, the summertime, I think I'm really going to enjoy playing with a palette like this. Like I said, this doesn't exist. There are a lot of the teals in here are more of a green undertone, so they go more towards that like sea foamy sort of level. But some of them have a bit of a gray leaning undertone. Some of them are brighter. I do believe that these 3 shades are the 3 shades that I've kept from the ColourPop Dream Street, and the rest of the palette is the High Tide. So can't wait to play with this. I'm really looking forward to having that one on my eyeballs. And then we have the Sigma Ambiance palette. This is such a beautiful palette as well. This was sent to me in PR by Sigma. They only sent me PR once because as much as I love the brand for their brushes, those I use every single day, their eyeshadow palettes are good, but they are quite up there in price, and there's always something with the palettes where I'm like, yeah, I like that, but did I really need, you know, there was just something about it all the time where I'm like, The same thing with this one. It is a really, really good warm tone palette though. It's got these like yellowy tones, and I'm sort of gravitating towards that mainly. This gets really orange, and then this is again a little bit more neutral. But especially these like mustardy, almost like honey kind of shades, that's really what my eye is drawn into when I reach for this one. And like I said, I do enjoy the quality of this, but I don't think that Sigma is always worth the brand, like worth the money for me. I've always had notes with every single palette I've tried from them. Not formula-wise, but color story-wise, because quite a few of their palettes either have a lot of mid-tones or they run super dark for me and my fair skin. So with Sigma, I always have some notes, but I do enjoy that palette, and I'm planning on selecting it for August. This one, Let's Get Nude by Gloss Gods. This is a wonderful palette. I knew when they launched this that I wanted to test it out. This came out right when I was in the middle of like, I want more warm tones in my life. And then they released this and I was like, yep, that's perfect. It's got a really nice multi-chrome in here, actually several ones. It's got, again, like a lighter, more neutrally vibe here. And then this is the spicy side. I like these three shades especially because they are warm, but they almost have this like plummy red sort of rose gold vibe to it. So I really like it. In my brain, the palette kind of works like gold row, rose gold, like plummy brown row. And then this is like the more like neutrally row, and then here's the fun row. That's sort of the way it works. Does that necessarily make a lot of sense to anybody else? I'm not entirely sure. This is a really beautiful palette, and because of the different like undertones you get, it's really versatile for a warm tone palette. Yes, everything is warm toned, but there are different color nuances to every single shade that's in here, which is why I enjoy it. This is perfect for the summertime, but this is also a really good pick for other times in the year. This is also a really good like bridal sort of palette, I feel. So this is such a good like run-of-the-mill sort of color story. Not sure whether I will be reaching for this in August yet, but I think sometime this fall I will be reaching for this palette. In my Shop My Stash, very much so right now, is the Solomona from Odin's Eye. This is not their first palette, I believe, but this is the first palette I tried from the brand, and they no longer make this. There are other palettes that have this Solomona name in, but this particular color story is no longer for sale. They've never tried to emulate it or bring it back as far as I know, but this is such a good warmer tone color story with a pop of something. But where a lot of warm tone palettes give you pops of blue, green, or teal, this is a pop of lavender, and that's just one of the things I like. It also has some really pretty like shimmers in here. This is a really nice sort of green shifting gold. I really like this shade in the palette. I do tend to do the same thing every single time with this palette that I use it. I always want to use this yellowy tone in the crease, and then very often I will use this or this all over the lid, or I top this one with this one. It's what I do a lot, or I reach for this like peachy shade in the middle, and then I use the lavender on the lower lash line. So I'm not super inventive with this, but I like this color story a lot. It just gives so many options, and I love this for the summertime because it's really giving you this sort of like sunset look, but without it being like your typical sunset. I'm not sure if I'm making sense. I hope I am. Oh, and this is in my Shop My Stash for July. So if you want to see some looks I do with it, check back my video at the If you want to see some looks with that palette, you can check the video at the end of the month. Then the final two palettes are sort of the outliers here. I know that a lot of these I've already shared with you in the past, but I was like, this Wicked Widow Beauty eyeshadow palette, the Tales of Terror or Haunting. Yes, it's a Halloween launch, but I was like, if you just want to go for the spicy orange tones, and then maybe with that pop of green, or the pop of purple, that's really fun for the summertime as well, I think. So this doesn't just have to be a Halloween palette in my brain. So depending on how you use this and how you put things together, I think you can make this really summery and fun for the summertime with those bright oranges it has. Those bright oranges are the one thing I don't love about the palette. I love the greens in here, and I love the purples, and I love the brown tones in here. It's just the oranges that make me go like, do I really love that? But I think that's exactly what makes it perfect for the summertime. So do with that what you wish. This is an excellent formula as well. Speaking of an excellent formula, I thought this could be so much fun. This was, of course, released just a couple of weeks ago. The Jewels of Eternity by Epic Beauty, the brand that was started by the owners of MONOLITH. I am affiliated with MONOLITH and also Epic Beauty. You can use my code if you want to get 5% off of this palette. And this is really wonderful. If you're looking for a fun, bright, colorful color story to play with for the summertime, I was like looking at some of my more rainbowy vibe things and my pastel vibe things, and it was like, would I want to put that in the video? And then I spotted this one and I was like, no, this is really nice for the summertime as well. And the reason why I think this is great for the summertime is especially this area down here, These like tealy blue shades are so, so wonderful. And then you also have this really nice like more rose tone quad. So I definitely feel this is sort of like beachy ocean sort of, like that's the vibe it gives me, okay? And then you do have the purples and these like murkier green things that are a little bit more olive leaning that sort of can make you like transition this palette into the fall season as well. So once the weather starts to change in September, you still have a really excellent option there. And this is just really, really good eyeshadow. I said it when I reviewed it. I don't know what they put into this, but this is some really, really cool, innovative eyeshadow formula. Even the things that look like it's not gonna look the same on the lids, look special and different on the lids. This didn't crease on me, even though the formula is really emollient, so that's a win. This has so many good things, and I just really thought that this color story on my skin tone looked a lot better than I had expected by looking at the shades in the pan. I really thought when this came in, like, will that look right on me? Because things looked a little bit warm, and I was like, But there are enough shades here to really sort of make the blend work, and I think it's going to suit a lot of people, no matter what skin tone you have. So you could be really fair, you've got shades for that. You can be like deeper skin tone, that's going to work. Whether you have olive skin, warm tone skin, cool tone skin, this is going to look beautiful on so many people. And like I said, I really enjoy the formula. So I was like, this is something that's just been out, and I was like, I want to feature that here as well. So those are the eyeshadow palettes that I wanted to mention in this video today. Let me know in a comment down below, what are your favorite eyeshadow palettes for the summertime? Do you have particular color stories that you like to use in this particular season? Or are you like, you know what, I'm just going to use whatever because it's fine. Because there are no rules to eyeshadow. You can wear whatever. I mean, today I'm wearing like tealy, sort of purpley blue. It's from the Beauty Bay Wanderscape, in case you're wondering. So those are the eyeshadows that are on my eyes today. And I really look forward to seeing you again in a new video. So I hope you would like to join me next time. And then I am going to close off the video here. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.